A couple of hours later, he arrived in my office with my money.
Well, thanks to Star Dobson and ATV on your side, the wait is over for one Maritimer. It's a story you can learn from tonight, live at 5.
Nancy Regan, Ron Kronstein, Star Dobson on your side, and meteorologist Peter Code. This is ATV News, live at 5.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Live at 5 for Tuesday, February 9th. I'm Nancy Regan.
And I'm Ron Kronstein. When it comes to their own health, women get a failing grade. You'll find out why tonight in these stories.
I'm Mike Cameron in St. John. A new survey on women and heart disease is going to surprise a lot of people. It seems most women, particularly older women, don't recognize the risk factors of heart attack and stroke. We'll have details later in Live at 5.
I'm Janice Landry in Halifax. If Canadian women between the ages of 40 and 70 are making a failing grade when it comes to their heart health, the question is why? We'll look at that later on Live at 5.
I'm Dan McIntosh in Guysborough, where a high school science project shows poor health choices are being made by girls as young as 9. I'll have that story later on Live at 5.
A good mattress is an investment. I'll show you some easy ways to keep it in tip-top condition coming up on Live at 5.
And next winter is shaping up to be a very competitive one for one maritime region. We'll learn why coming up.
All this and much more ahead tonight, including a visit with Pete at the Frutique. Right now, though, we check in with Bruce Briscoe, working ahead on the news headlines. What's coming up at 6, Bruce?
A lot coming up for you tonight at 6, Nancy. Some students at Mount Allison University want the government to do something to help save their education. They feel talks aimed at ending the ongoing strike there are going nowhere. They're now asking a couple of New Brunswick cabinet ministers to intervene and bring an end to that 3-week-old dispute. We'll tell you all about it tonight at 6 o'clock. You know, he's already been convicted of sex offenses, and now he is facing more than 130 additional charges. The question facing our courts tonight, should we be forced to pay more than $1 million for his defense? ATV's Fonz Jessom has the latest on the Cesar Lalo case coming up tonight at 6 o'clock. Also tonight, New Brunswickers may not have to wait for the Sable Gas Project to provide them with natural gas. That's because the gas is already there, and tonight there are plans in the works to get it into homes in the province. We'll tell you all about it tonight at 6. Time now for our first fast look at the weather with meteorologist Peter Code. Peter.
Thank you, Bruce. Well, we have a bit of snow headed our way. As a matter of fact, it moved into New Brunswick earlier this afternoon. It will continue moving across the area overnight tonight. By this time tomorrow, it'll all be said and done, but not everybody's going to get some snow. Some will see rain. I'll be back a little later and tell you just who gets what, Bruce.
All right, thanks, Peter. We'll look forward to that. Also coming up tonight at 6, patriotism and what it means to be Canadian. Do we celebrate our heritage, wave the flag as much as we should? Well, tonight we'll speak with some of our country's newest citizens to find out exactly why they chose our country. That story and a whole lot more coming your way tonight in the ATV News immediately following Live at 5. It continues right now with Ron Kronstein, Nancy Regan.
Thanks, Bruce. First at 5 tonight, putting off health. That's what a major national survey says Canadian women are doing, with often fatal results.
The Canadian Heart and Stroke Foundation says the results show women between the ages of 45 and 74 get failing grades when it comes to protecting their future cardiac health.
It seems Canadian women are too busy working, caring for their children, and looking after elderly relatives to pay attention to their own health.
And that means they're overweight, unfit, suffer high blood pressure and stress, and don't do enough to correct those factors.
With a closer look at the study results, ATV's Mike Cameron joins us tonight live from St. John. Mike?
Well, the survey was just released by the Canadian Heart and Stroke Foundation. It studied women in the age 45 to 74 bracket. That's a huge section of the female population, from baby boomers to senior citizens.
It's really important to have some, good exercise throughout the week.
Pat Gary and Helen Vautour go for an hour-long walk 3 times a week.
Just to get out and get some exercise and some fresh air.
But they are in the minority. A survey of Canadian women shows only 36% exercise regularly and are physically active. Less than a third maintain a healthy body weight, and 74% feel they are under stress in their daily lives.
They've got a failing grade on heart health.
Heather Erb Campbell of the Heart and Stroke Foundation says the notion that more women are exercising and taking responsibility for their health appears to be a misconception. But she says many working women and working mothers are facing enormous stress.
The housework, the grocery shopping, the thrust of it still, the majority of it falls on the women. When you feel that stressed, it's really hard to make good choices. And
the survey also indicates that there seems to be a reluctance on the part of most women to ask a doctor about their risks of getting heart disease.
Only 55% of women have ever spoken to their doctor to assess their personal risk for heart disease or stroke. And worse, only 37% of women have talked to a physician about hormone replacement therapy to reduce heart disease.
Women need to find out if this is an option for them so they can reduce their risk. Because remember, after menopause, men and women are just about equal in the incidence of heart disease and stroke.
The survey showed only 29% of women were even aware that hormone replacement therapy was an option. Reason for more women to ask a professional.
I think that postmenopausal women should really, talk to their doctors about hormone replacement maybe, and if not, they should be getting a lot of exercise, especially after 50.
And a final note which emphasizes why women should be taking notice. Currently 40% of all women die of heart disease and stroke.
Mike, is there anything at all positive in this survey?
Yes, the results weren't all bad. The results show that currently 83% of women are getting their blood pressure checked at least once a year, and that's a good sign because obviously that's one of the first things people will look at when they're assessing their risk for a heart attack or for a stroke.
All right, Mike, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Nancy.
Well, if so many Canadian women are making a failing grade when it comes to their heart health, the obvious question is why? We put that question to ATV's Janice Landry today, and she joins us now. Janice?
Well, Nancy, one of the biggest factors that tends to work against many women is they put the demands of their daily lives in front of their own health. The role of the woman in today's household has grown more demanding over the last few decades. Out of necessity, more families have become two-income households, with the woman either holding down a full or part-time job. Health experts say with that trend, they're also seeing a lack of commitment by women to their own well-being. The new study on heart health shows many Canadian women between the ages of 45 and 74 don't maintain a healthy weight or are not physically active. Stephanie Heath is a research coordinator for Heart Health Nova Scotia.
And women in particular, I think, they always take time for other people, so we have to make it easier for women to incorporate it into their daily lives.
Why people don't pay enough attention to their own health is a complex issue. But experts say in order for women to start making a change, no matter what their age, friends and loved ones must become supportive of their needs.
The whole family has to recognize that mother or the partner or the wife needs to have time for herself too and get that balance in her life.
Time is always an excuse people use for not maintaining a healthy and active lifestyle, according to Lori Turnbull, program manager at Halifax's YMCA.
The priority is, is getting the kids ready. It's going to work. A lot of women work through their lunch. They have lunch at their desk. The next thing you know, you're going home. You pick up the kids. You're home. You prepare supper. You sit down for the evening. Finally, maybe around 9 o'clock, you're in bed.
Turnbull says you can find small ways to improve your heart health. And she says these steps will also help battle things like osteoporosis, diabetes, and other chronic problems.
If you get off the bus, say 2 stops before you have to and walk the rest of the way, then that's going to expend more calories. If you look at climbing the stairs as opposed to taking the elevator, if you look at going for a walk after work, walk on your lunchtime, take the dog out, and just reduce the amount of time that you spend sitting.
And remember, it's never too late to start reaping the rewards of a more active and healthy lifestyle, Nancy. And if you're just starting to become more active, remember, start out more moderately and work up to a more strenuous routine. And it's always a good idea to talk with your family physician.
Good advice. Thank you, Janice.
You're welcome.
And it's not just older women making poor health choices. Ron?
Well, that's right, Nancy. 2 high school students in Guysborough, for example, have completed a survey that shows girls as young as 9 are dieting. And almost 90% of teenage girls surveyed have at least once intentionally vomited to lose weight. ATV's Dan McIntosh looks at this surprising science project.
Shelley Grant and Janice McIsaac say they wanted to do their science project on eating disorders because they thought nobody realized how widespread a problem it was. They surveyed more than 300 elementary and high school students in Guysborough using anonymous questionnaires. Among their findings was that 89% of the 16-year-old girls surveyed had forced themselves to vomit at least once in order to lose weight. Janice was especially shocked to find that over half of the 9-year-old girls surveyed had already tried dieting.
It starts at such a young age. Like 9-year-olds were saying that they were fat, and that's not normal. Like they're 60 pounds and they were saying that they were overweight.
School officials say the project is alarming and enlightening.
It was shocking, and it makes us aware that we as educators perhaps maybe should be offering more programs for the students to provide them with better choices as far as diet, etc.
One of the disturbing aspects of this kind of survey is that the young people who are making the poor health choices today could very easily end up being the adults who make poor health choices tomorrow. Tina Witherall is a dietitian at the Guysborough Memorial Hospital.
And unfortunately, at that young age, when they're making poor nutritional concerns, it is going to impact their health later in life. And chances are, if they have poor eating habits now, that it's very much a habit, and it will become hard to develop better eating habits later in life.
School officials and the 2 students who conducted the survey say the keys to battling the problem are education and awareness.
But no one really ever discusses the actual fact, well, geez, you know, like, we're affected by eating disorders too. And it's sort of like hushed up and stuff, and no one really discusses it. So I wanted to make it aware to, like, my students and younger students so they'll have a better understanding and maybe better eating habits.
In Guysborough, Dan McIntosh, ATV News.
All right. Startling statistics in that study, eh?
Well, and it's staggering to hear not only that, women are having problems maintaining their health, but that kids as young as 9 are dieting and screwing up their eating habits at that age.
They learn by example.
Unfortunately, that's the case. So set a better example, I guess that's what we have to do.
Coming up later on Live at 5 tonight, it's the moment movie buffs wait for all year long. Todd Battis will be on the scene tonight with the Oscar nomination highlights.
But coming up next, love is in the air.
You gotta give 110%, It's Valentine's Day.
We're helping you get ready for Valentine's Day when Live at 5 continues.